Thanks for being here. A couple of comments about the Wisconsin game. Great win for the Buckeyes on offense. The champion efforts were, once again, this is very big with our team on how we try to reward great efforts. And Marcus Hall, great at a champion. Two receivers, Evan Spencer and Devin Smith, arguably the most improved area on our team. It's a common theme now. We're getting several receivers great now champions, and that's not just obviously for catching the ball, but they're very involved in the perimeter blocking for a run game. And then the co-offensive players of the week this week were Philly Brown, had 8 catches for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns, and captain Jack Mewhort played very well. So that was our champions and players of the week. On defense, Adolphus Washington came back from an injury and played very well. Great champion effort. Mike Bennett, who a fairly consistent player, also came back from an injury. And C.J. Barnett, who's arguably one of our most consistent players. And Ryan Shazier's defensive player of the game, played his best game of the year and has really come on the last couple weeks playing for us. Special teams player of the week, it was Devin Smith. Devin Smith, our punt team held him 5 of the 6 times and tied to 10. And 1 time on the 16-yard line. So it was our special teams return game was very average once again, which we have to at some point have something more than average. But our coverage units were really good. Really good kicker. Our kicker did a nice job, and then our coverage units continue to be very impressive. Very pleased with the effort. Obviously, after the game, we had a shot to our team was when we lost Christian Bryant. We still feel that way. The sign of a good team is, though, someone that really moves on and has someone step up in his place. The issue is going to be not just as a player, but as who he is. And that's where, one of the greatest things you get to do as a coach is watch and witness a young guy turn into a man, and he has. I can't say enough good things about Christian Bryant and what he means. I'm hoping we can bring him with us to Northwestern, but he's an extremely valuable member of this team. So great win, and best thing about 5-0 is a chance to go 6-0. It's really, really difficult game coming up, back-to-back games against ranked teams. Other than Christian, we should be healthy. Tommy Schott's still a couple weeks away, so he won't play, but everybody else, from what I told, looks like they're going to be ready to go play. And another night game. Game day I hear is going to be there, and it'll be a heck of an atmosphere. So we look forward to this challenge.
Open up with Dave Biddle. Dave Biddle, Bucknuts. Urban, is there any chance that Christian Bryant could return next year? Is there any type of
next year?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's a 4-game. You mean red shirt?
Yeah, there's been talk of I've never heard about this before, but a body of work red shirt. I've heard that thrown around that there's a possibility he could use that, similar to what Devin Gardner did at Michigan.
I'm going to find out. It's been going on so fast.
And in regards to this year, is Pitt Brown now the next guy up?
Or Tyvis. It's Pitt and Tyvis for the next 2, because Tyvis plays nickel. And so Pitt, the good thing is you got a veteran, a kid that really does a lot of things well, Pitt. And then the Tyvis Bow, who's got an incredible future. And then Von Bell's also in the mix for somewhere to, because once you replace that position, then you got nickel dime issues. So the 3 names we just mentioned are the ones that are, as we speak, we're having a conversation about.
Front row middle, Todd. Brent, how difficult is this turnaround? I mean, you go night game to night game, ranked team to ranked team, and you're playing a team that's had 2 weeks to prepare for you guys.
Tough. I mean, it could be harder. I mean, this is, some people say bye weeks don't matter. You'll never hear me say that. I mean, bye weeks are very important. Matter of fact, if I was scheduling, I'd always try to put it where, against a team that, you deal with injury and fatigue in the middle of the season, and then obviously back-to-back opponents, especially when you play against a team like Wisconsin, a physical game. So we had to be very cautious on how we operated yesterday. I'm going to have to be very smart how we do Tuesday and Wednesday, because that's usually real physical. So today I'm getting a feel for how our guys are when they're going through the training room and treatment. So but it is what it is. It's part of the season.
Front row, Bill.
Bill Rabinowitz, Dispatch. Of the guys that you mentioned, Tyvis Powell, Pitt Brown, and Von Bell, is it a hard thing to try to figure out how to mix and match them? Is there a clear front runner? What are you looking for that replacement for Christian?
Yeah, it's complicated, and that's where I trust. Last year I would have probably put my hands all over that, because I didn't really know Everett Withers very well. He had a great reputation, but he's an excellent football coach. And we met this morning at 7 a.m. and I wanted Coach Fickle's opinion. I want Mike Vrabel's and Kerry Combs, and I'm going to give mine. And we're going to meet again at 2 o'clock, and I want to hear what they're going to do. But I gave my opinions. But I have great confidence in all the above matter. Experience. This is not an easy one. If this was a game that you outman them, very easy offense. This is a very complicated offense, one that's going to require, one of the disappointing things we had last Saturday was not just a couple guys got beat, but we had some errors in checks and communication. We can't have that. And that position that is open now, that's a big part of it. So that's where maybe a Pitt has more advantage over a Von Bell or a Tyvis Powell.
And the timing of it, playing a team like Northwestern,
It's tough.
Front row. Tim?
Yeah, Tim A. Clemens Dispatch. Urban, a couple things. Number one, how did you finally judge Braxton Miller's comeback and stuff? What'd you see there that pleased you?
I thought his preparation for the game was one of the best he's had. His practice was one of the best he's had as far as Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And I thought his accuracy on the deep ball was outstanding. And we were a couple shot. That defense we played forces you to do that. I mean, they're going to negate the run, and that's, we kind of went into the win the game mode in the second half, and it's hard to do that against that style of defense. And, hindsight, maybe you take a couple more shots, but I'm not sure that'd be the right thing to do either. But I thought he did well.
And Bradley Roby, at least to us, seemed to have a little bit of a challenge out there at times on Saturday. Is he a guy that you need to get his confidence back this week, or just how did he play in your opinion?
He didn't play up to Roby standards. We kind of put him in on an island the entire game. We held him to 100 yards rushing, a team that was averaging over 300. That was made, when that decision was made on Sunday, right after the FAMU game. That's to win this game. Our defense, I didn't think we could do that. I thought it'd be a 200-yard rushing day, because I think that number 25 and 20 in the offensive line are very good players. So, but you have to, at least, he did give up some yards, but we won the game, and we couldn't stop the run game unless you have a guy that you leak and hold up out there.
But he also got banged up early. Did you think that affected him?
You'd have to ask her. I don't think so.
Clay?
Coach, do you recall your 2001 win over Northwestern as the BG head coach?
Oh, yeah. I could, coaches are weird ducks, man. I could tell you, I don't know my address, but I can tell you every play in that game. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 29 points in the fourth quarter against my friend, a great football coach, Randy Walker. We made a decision in the fourth quarter not to kick deep because we couldn't stop them. Zach Kustok was the quarterback. They beat the team up north like 2 weeks earlier. I think they were ranked at the time. And we had a kid making his second start, Josh Harris. You want me to keep going? And he had a post corner route.
How significant was that for you as a young head coach?
Oh, that was, we had a 6-hour bus ride, and we refused to leave the locker room for about 2.5 hours. Those kids wouldn't leave, and I wouldn't leave with them. We were just crying and enjoying. It was an incredible comeback by a team. We scored the last 2 touchdowns, within a minute and a half. We were down, and the game's over. Great memories. The running back gets a first down. We come in, strip the ball, go down and score, and then we go for 2. We're down by 1, and there's no way we're going to stop them to go to overtime. So we decided to go for 2 with just 20 seconds left, and we pitch it to kid from Alaska. He goes in and scores. We win.
Are you still that gutsy as a head coach?
No, not at all.
Front row. Austin?
Urban, how does having Carlos Hyde change your rushing attack?
Yeah, it does. Jordan Hall's got to be involved. That was a decision we kind of made. We thought and we knew it was going to be very hard to run in there. The way they play their defensive line, they play them in those 4 eyes, and they're very good against the rush. But those are our top 2 backs, and we're working on that now. So I want to make sure we get Jordan Hall involved some.
Does he look, talking about Carlos, better than a year ago? More, has he changed at all?
I don't know. We haven't seen them do much. Even Saturday wasn't. We didn't. They were packed in there pretty good. So we didn't have an opportunity to let him do what he does.
Far left. Matt?
Just wondering, with the number of weapons that you have, offensively. How difficult is it? I mean, you're talking about Jordan getting involved. Do you go into a game and think, we've got to give this guy this many touches? We got, you got Dontre, you got the receivers. How difficult are those?
Great question. That is it difficult? No, it's actually awesome. It's great. It's difficult as the other one, where you don't have the puzzles and the pieces of the checkerboard that you like. And we have several like the young man that goes to class, that lives right, that practices hard, that does it right. That's really hard for me because I get real close to these players. All our coaches do, and you just want to do right by them. That's why we made a concerted effort with Evan Spencer the week before, and we had to throw him the ball. I mean, there was a couple of times I throw him the ball, and just he earned that right. And for the kid that doesn't go to class, the guy that's a painter, no, it's not hard at all. It's not hard. You just stand back here and watch these guys play. And we have a good majority of our guys do everything right. So that is difficult, especially when you're talking about a kid like Jordan Hall.
Front row left, Doug. Urban, you talked about that you went into sort of win the game mode in the second half there with Wisconsin. What's that balance of, I don't know, trying to have a killer instinct or whatever and keep your foot on the pedal versus not taking too many risks? How's a coach balance all that?
Well, I mean, I think that's a good question. Here's what went through our mind is that, and Tom, obviously, that's not a lone ranger there, but we felt that for them to consistently throw the ball down the length of the field, we were playing the plan to win, which is field position football. Every time we had the ball was near the midfield or area, and we have a very good punter, very good punt team. I trust our guys that we're going to down that ball, and we're going to make them drive it 90 yards. They run the style of defense, now that I look back, they don't allow you to just run the clock. There's so many people packed in there. And you can tell the way we scored our points were shots. That's not the kind of, you'll see all year, they're not the kind of defense that's going to give up methodical running the ball. They force you to take the shots. So that's why we tried to even run Braxton a couple times, spread them out, and it didn't work very well. So that's what goes into the process. At the end of the day, you're up 3 scores against a team that supposedly can't throw the ball as well as they did. And we made a decision that the way we lose that game is turn the ball over. And maybe style point. I heard style points or something. Not real concerned about that, but we won the game.
With Cameron, I don't know, that backspin he gets on it, he seems like he really is able to place it there inside the 10.
He's actually better at that than driving the ball right now. And we've been working on, he's kind of stabs at it. His last punt was a 4, 5, 6 hang time, and that's what we expect all the time. 53 yards, 4, 5, 6. So that's what we expect. And Devin Smith was magical getting down. They doubled him, and he went down and stopped him. And a good player was going. That's what they decided to double our gunners. So he's a very valuable weapon for us. He's only a freshman too. We got him for a long time.
Fourth row right, David.
Coach, Northwestern effective using the 2 quarterbacks as a guy that obviously has had success doing that over the years. What kind of input does he give to the defense, and what makes them so effective with what they do?
Well, they're good players. I think they'd use him, but one's completing 77% of his passes, and then the other one's a very good runner, but he can also throw it. They're very mirrored offenses. There's a lot of similarities to the 2 offenses. Their offense coordinator was at Bowling Green right after I left, Mick McCall. So I watch them play, and I see they're very good, and schematically they're very good.
Front row, Bill.
Yes, Philly Brown is a guy who I know was not on your most favorite nation status at the start of your tenure. Could you describe his development on and off the field?
His biggest turnaround as I can remember. He's the leader. He runs the show right now. There's a reason why Evan Spencer and Devin Smith are great now champions. There's a reason why we go down to individual, that everyone's going +2 effort, we call it. It's because the guy in the first in the line is number 10, and he demands it. And man, I mean, it's just he's got a nice life ahead of him. He's got to continue doing what he's doing, but in the classroom doing the same thing. Yeah, this time last year, I was hoping he'd move on somewhere else. We had enough, and he's really done a nice job. Not a nice job, a great job.
Couple more questions, Tim.
Yeah, Urban, real quick, as you look at your passing offense, you guys are on track to obliterate the school record for touchdown passes. I mean, what do you see that's really clicking there, or is that just the way things have happened the first 5 games?
No, I'd like to do this stat. I haven't done it, but that'd be good to do. For your story would be how many deep ball. We are a deep. We can attack. Our kids can get open and they can catch, and we can throw a deep ball. That couldn't do that last year. There was games I would refuse to call it because they were going to be covered and we couldn't throw it. Now we have a lot. This Saturday we're going to try the same thing. I mean, that's a big part of who we are. So we'd have more explosive pass plays. I don't know if I remember this many this early in the season ever.
And number two, as you look, I would think you've looked at Northwestern a little bit defensively. What sticks out about them? I mean, they've given up a lot of yards, but they seem to make plays.
They're a little bit like, they're very, Mike Hankiewicz is the defense coordinator. He's an old-time friend of mine. He's an excellent coach. And obviously the head coach is very involved in the defense. They're very sound. It's a 4-3 defense. They're not a radar, bizarre-looking defense. So it's very sound. Sound defenses at times give up yards because they're not doing all the chaos that we see nowadays in college football. But it's hard to score on very sound defenses because at some point they're going to force you to make a mistake. They're not going to give up the big one and force you to make a mistake.
Just one last quickie. Cameron Johnston, that last punt, from a confidence standpoint, obviously it was huge for you guys. Just what does that do for a kid to maybe deliver in the clutch like that?
Because he hasn't. I've graded him about a C-. You know, his average hang time was just under 4 seconds, which is completely unacceptable up to this point. And so I'm just seeing a little bit more pep in his step. The players love him, and so I'm hoping we see what you said. So great deal of confidence that he can go get the job done.
And last question, Todd.
Braxton ran the ball 22 times the other night. Obviously, they weren't all designed, but do you want him running the ball that often, especially given what he's coming off of?
No, it's a 14, 15 time a game. We like to run, but like you said, a lot of them are scrambles. But no, we like to keep it a little lower than that.
Some of that come from what they're doing too, like what's out there for you to take.
Yeah, that every game changes. A lot of it has to do with him too. You know, if he sees something open, he certainly has a right to go take it. So there are a lot of factors involved in that.
Did you like him as a blocker?
Oh yeah, that's right. He'd been chirping about that all day. Yeah, he did a nice job. That was a good block. Have a great day, guys. Thanks.